What's up, y'all? It's been about, what, 2 weeks? Good night. I've had a lot going on, but I'll fill you guys in at the end of this about everything kind of going on. But it's really cool, so kind of excited. But it kind of goes into my video topic for the day, which is delusion. Delusion, I think, has a bad rep. I think people are like, oh, you're doing something that is just delusional, that, I don't know, I guess is going to hurt you in the end because of how out of reach it is, or something of that nature. But here's a good point right here. I guess a good way to think about it. You as a person, you had the odd, like, you actually hit the lottery of all lotteries. Do you understand it is 1 in 400 trillion chance that you're here on this earth? And you're too scared to have a goal in mind and chase it that might seem so insane to everyone else, but you could actually go after that and you might actually achieve it, but you're too scared to do so because you would rather satisfy the crowd around you and what they think of you, and the safety aspect, and all you think about are all the negative what ifs on the journey to get that thing. But what if you made it? What if you made it? You made it here on Earth. You are 1 in 400 trillion. You literally have, I think it's like, you could literally win the lottery 10 times in your life, and you're more likely to do that than you are to be on Earth, but yet you're too scared to go and chase after some crazy dream because of what the surrounding crowd that you have around you thinks about it, and tells you you're crazy or insane. Like, come on. Like, you literally got put on this earth at a 1 in a 400 trillion chance. And the idea of chasing a dream that seems almost insane to everyone else because of how few or maybe no people have ever done it is holding you back from just trying. Now, the road on to the journey to getting to your goal in the delusional aspect is obviously not going to be perfect, but it will get better because you'll become smarter, you become more disciplined, you will have more patience, you will be able to make better decisions quicker than at the beginning. So at the beginning, don't get discouraged because obviously it's going to start bad. It just does, but it will get better. And that is where you have to be able to be delusional, to push past all that beginning crap where you suck, because inevitably you suck, but you will get better and you will inevitably become the person you need to make the decisions on the way up. So don't get discouraged on just the beginning aspect. I think that's an important part. I think that's where a lot of people quit. Like, a lot of people will quit, right before they make it. I think it's like one of the biggest sayings I've ever heard. Michael B. Jordan said that, actually, I think, is you know, a lot of people, right before they crack it, right before they get right through the breakthrough towards their dream and goal, usually end up quitting because it's at that point, it is where you've seen so many losses and no progress. And the non-delusional person that thinks, oh, well, I might as well just play it safe, and not look dumb in front of everybody else. So I think I'll just go back to what I was usually doing and do the usual. But the delusional person, they'll see those losses, but they'll take them in a different way of, okay, I've learned this, I've learned this, I've learned this. So now I can move to the next step. And that is where the breakthrough is at. But that tweak in your mindset to those things is what will change your trajectory, within your life and your goals. So don't think just because it's hard and because it almost seems impossible that it is impossible, because it's almost impossible. See what I'm saying? It is almost impossible. You ended up on this earth out of all the chances that it could have been you ended up on this earth. So the almost possible dream that you have that seems insane, I'm telling you, is not actually insane. You actually can achieve those things. And, get a drink real quick. And, I don't know if you believe in God or whatever. I do. And a lot of people, I think, have this weird construed, I don't know, it's just my belief. I could be totally wrong, but my opinion. So I think a lot of people who do believe in God will say, oh, well, if it's supposed to happen, it'll happen because, he has a plan for me and it'll just come. And I think that is such a messed up way to think about it. And the aspect of, in my opinion, I believe that in our lives, because we have free will, that God does open doors for us to go achieve the goals that we have and we want to have in our life. But it is our job, and we're supposed to take it upon ourselves to step through those doors and take the risks, take that, insane chance of totally crashing and burning or achieving the dream that we've always had since we were little, and doing all the things that we've asked him, for forever. But I do think it is our due diligence to do our part to get there. I think he just gives you the opportunity to get there. So sitting around and just, playing safe, I think inevitably actually hinders your potential to get there. I think that's where a lot of people trap themselves in this mediocrity area that we've all become accustomed to, is because, we just expect it to come, but we don't actually expect to do all the things to get there when we know exactly what it takes to get there, but it's hard and it sucks and it takes a lot of, you hear a lot of opinions from external sources and it's discouraging and all that stuff. And that's why you have to be delusional, because you have to be able to close out all that noise and push past all that, all that, I guess, demoralizing things that come with the delusion goal that you have in mind to get there. And I think that's the whole difference maker between the people who do make it and people who don't, is that mentality part in that aspect. And something else I've heard, it was such a great quote. I think it was from Chris Williamson. So I found that, trying to think, put it in my own words here. I found people are in love with the dream or goal that people are in love with achieving a dream or goal that seems insane, but they are not in love with the work that it takes to get there. They're not in love with the journey that it's going to take to get there. They're just in love with the outcome, not the actual process to getting there. And I think that's why, again, that's why it seems impossible to get there, because people have become accustomed to, the average. So it just doesn't allow them to push past the aspect of pain and sacrifice in order to get to the outcome that they dream of, which is why I think that was so funny, because people are in love with the outcome, but they aren't in love with the process. Same thing with literally anything. I think it's even relationships. I think even relationships, goals, friendships, things like that. People are in love with the aspect of having the kids and the nice house and the husband and wife and girlfriend or boyfriend, and but they aren't in love with the hard conversations, the tough times, the tough, long months that happen within those, terms, to get to that point, because it takes a lot of that stuff to even get there. And I think I think that's why so many people fail in those things, is because they only want the outcome. They only want the good parts and not the negatives. But to get to the good parts, you have to have the negatives first. And I think that's why a lot of people's dreams and stuff fail. It's just because we're so in love with the outcome and not the actual journey that it takes to get there. So when people are like, "Oh, I wish I could be that person," really, do they actually want to, or do they just want to have the outcome that they've had or that they see, and not the journey that it took them to get there? So I don't know, it's an interesting way to think about it. I think it's with a lot of people, though. I think it's just human nature, is that why it's always, I guess something that I learned in the military too, I guess it kind of correlates, is when I had to, go and find a spot to hide myself. They would always teach us to go into the path of most resistance and not the least resistance, because most people, when they're walking through the woods, they would rather take the least resistance and not most resistance, so you would be covered and hidden from the average human being, which would take the path of least resistance, which I think correlates into your dreams and goals in life. So I think that's pretty interesting that that kind of correlates in that aspect. I never thought I would use a military term, but it's true though, you know? And I mean, it's not a bad thing. Like I said, there's a lot of, ordinary people. I'm not saying ordinary people are bad, but there's a lot of really good ordinary people in our lives. I mean, I'm sure everybody has those people around them. It's just but being extraordinary takes being extra in the ordinary things. And I think that's also where people get that messed up as well. It's like, they think that you have to be like this insanely smart or athletic, or obviously there is something to that, but in all reality, I think a lot of the work that needs to be put in order to get to your, insane dream that you're looking for, I think it's just doing a lot of the extra parts of the ordinary things that everybody does day to day. It's just being really good at those and refining those and becoming an expert within those. And I think that's where a lot of people get that wrong is, yeah, I think you just have to be really good at being ordinary, like just being extra in the ordinary things to become extraordinary within, your profession, which is also kind of interesting, I don't know. Because I used to think that way too, I used to be like, well, even now in my business, I'm like, well, I'm not good enough to, create this thing for businesses. So if they come and ask me for this service, what am I going to do? Yada yada, I'm gonna make myself look bad, which in return gives me bad testimonials and all this stuff. But in all reality, what I found is just most people want the same service, like very ordinary, simple services. And I was talking to this business owner. I mean, dude, brother is about to sell for like 500 M's, like it's crazy. But we've had a pretty good relationship where we talk about business stuff quite a lot lately, and he was showing me this really cool technology that he had created, and for $1 trillion company, or they're like throwing trillions out there, and they were ecstatic about what he created. And he's showing me this thing, and I'm like, and I'm looking at it, and I expected some insane thing, because obviously it's got to be insane if it's impressing those kind of people. And I took a look at it, and I was like, isn't this just this? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what? So it's just like, kind of goes back to around to like, I don't think you have to do the most insane thing ever or be doing the most insane things ever to be successful within your dreams or goals. Because like, I do think it's just being really good at the ordinary things. And I think that's, and it just doesn't seem like that, because obviously you look at social media and all that stuff, and it just like looks like you have to be, insanely good or like something super special or whatever. But you actually really don't. You just have to do really well at what everybody else does, but just do it better than them. Show up on time, show up looking the way you need to look good, have good hygiene, obviously study the stuff you're trying to get into. But just being better than the other person is, and that puts you a leg up on the competition in order to, be successful within the profession. And another thing with delusion, which I found interesting, another thing in delusion that I found interesting is, trying to think, what was it? It kind of goes back to the fact that you are a 1 in 400 trillion chance of even being here. Are you actually doing the career or chasing the career or path that you actually want to do? Or is there something in the back of your head that's like, I want to do this, but it just seems so insane that I actually don't want to step into that because of the social norms or things like that. Like, are you actually chasing something that you in your one life that you have is actually the thing you want to do? That seems insane, but it's the thing that you really want to do. Because like, why wouldn't you want to try something that you already only have one chance at the life? So why not try a dream that seems absolutely delusional and maybe achieve it? And even if you don't, you do become a better person on the path to even trying it and failing. But fear has destroyed more dreams than failure has. So why not try and take the chance within the 1 out of 400 trillion chance that you made it here in the first place to try? Because most of you guys are just staring at all the negatives from 10 years forward and all the what ifs. But what if you freaking made it, dude? You made it here, so why can't you make it happen in there? Why can't your dream become a reality? Like, honestly. Like, it's insane. Like just think about it. I mean, come on. Like, it's literally such a small chance that you were here. So imagine the chances that you could have if you just gave it your best towards something you actually wanted to do, and you just ignored the social norms and the opinions of external things and pursued it. Because like, who cares, right? I mean, it's not like it's going to be the end of the world, really. But you know, it's a hard step to take, and I've heard it all. I've heard the whole "you're crazy" and all that stuff. Trust me, heard it all. But I think that also kind of pushes me to keep doing it. Um, like, to put in perspective, this one kind of gets a little bit deeper into it. But someone asked me, "How do you keep going?" Or what is the willpower that keeps you going day in and day out to do what you do? And I guess my answer to that, um, it sounds I don't know if it's healthy. I don't know if it's healthy, but it works for me. It works for me. It works for me. But it only lasts for so long, to be quite honest. But it does help. So all the people that said you were either a coward, you're lucky, you're never going to make it, or you're a hypocrite, or you're insane, or I can't believe you're doing this, imagine if you fail and crash and burn, all those people, like, every time I wake up, and I don't want to wake up to my alarm because that's quite literally every day, that is the same repeated tapes that I play in my head, because every time I don't wake up, all I do is prove them right. And that kills me more than failing within my passion and dream of chasing a goal that could be a reality if I continue to do so. I don't know. That's like something I've always used. It's weird. It's a weird burn, thing that I've had. And honestly, I'm so blessed to have been told all those things, because I think it has pushed me to do all the things that I do, which are insane things. But I would never take those back ever, because it's changed me into the person I am today. And I know for a fact that even though, like, if you try something and you fail and everybody knows you failed, at least you were the person to actually go and try, while they sat on the sidelines and never knew what they actually could have became, because they were too scared to take the risk to get to that delusional, insane goal that they actually want to do in their life, but they're slaving away doing something they never wanted to do in this one life that they have. Like, come on. No. They aren't happy with their life. They're not. I mean, come on. So like, you don't need everyone to understand your vision. You just need enough belief to keep moving before the results get there. And I think that's also the separator between the successful people and non-successful people, is that their understanding of pushing past the results not coming quick, is what a lot of people have a hard time doing, is from they like to see quick results, but in order to get to something that no one else has done or very few has done, you have to understand that the results are delayed, that they're so delayed. Like the average millionaire is not 21. The average millionaire is like, I think it's in their 50s or 60s. Like the whole construed mindset that we have that it has to come quick is not, it's not real. Like you've got to understand it is a long-term game, but it's not a safe game either. But I would rather not play it safe and understand that I took the chances in the 1 in 4 trillion chance I was alive to get after an insane goal, because what if I made it? Even though what if I failed? But failure is just teaching me the things I need to do to achieve the goals that I have in my life. So I don't think it's a bad thing to obviously not have it figured out early. Because I think you just taking the first step and breaking open the seal of taking the first step in the first place says tons more about you than if you just sat around and never did anything for it. So I don't know, it is interesting though. And like, took some notes down here, and yeah. So like, when it comes to like being delusional, your future doesn't care about your realistic aspect of life. It cares whether you're willing to become the person that can actually hold it. That goes back into what I was saying. Like, you have to first become the person before you get the outcome. So having just realistic goals doesn't allow you to become the person to achieve great things. I mean, it really doesn't. I mean, like, so I can kind of get into what I'm doing, I guess, here in the next month. Literally T-minus 1 month, it's already secured. We're ready to go. But I think the best feeling ever is when you, so, I think where a lot of people mess up. I think where a lot of people mess up is that they tell people a lot of things that they're going to do within their life, and they don't end up doing them. So then their confidence becomes low, and then their realistic version of who their potential is becomes much lower of a standard, which then I think that's where everybody gets stuck in. But you have to understand that when you say something and you do it and you actually achieve it, the feeling that you get from gratification from saying it and then actually executing upon those, things you said to people is far greater, and it will take you so much farther because you'll have that self-confidence in order to, I guess, try the next thing and try the next thing and try the next thing to, maybe do something insane, do something delusional, do something crazy that doesn't seem very, realistic. Because what is realistic? You being here isn't freaking realistic, but people think it's just a thing. It's just realistic. But in all reality, it's actually quite insane. So why not, say you're going to do something absolutely insane and then take your steps towards doing something insane and then actually achieving them? Because it sounds pretty cool to me, right? I mean, trying something and, something that no one else thinks they can do, and then you actually prove that you can do it. And then what happens is, once you prove that you can do something that is exceptionally hard to the average human being, you can then take all that education that you learned from all those failures and things like that of becoming the person you needed to be in order to get there, to then help other people realize that insane goals and very hard, goals in your life are achievable, and then you can help them get to that point, which is honestly, inevitably, that's my goal, to do the same thing, is to show other people that you can do what's insane, you can do the not regular, you can be non-realistic within this life. And I think that becomes a really good educational aspect to give to other people. And I think obviously giving back is quite literally the best thing you can do within your life, is just being generous and giving back and helping other people learn from your thing. Because if your goals and dreams are just to satisfy your own things, I'm telling you, you're going to get there way faster than what you think. And then what are you going to have if it's already there? I mean, you just have like a cool car and stuff, cool, whatever. But like, there's just nothing left. Like, you're just going to quit after that. So yeah, I mean, it's a really cool aspect. And so yeah. So getting back to what I got going on. So essentially, in my, and I know within my skill set that I have, the biggest and worst thing I think I have that hinders business, relationships, friendships, all that good stuff is my ability to make conversation and meet new people that I have no idea about at all. That is like my weakest point, and I know that. And I'm currently in a situation where I am, I'm very, I guess, I'm comfortable, which is, in my opinion, a terrible thing. And it was the same thing when I was in the military before this. I would constantly think about, what if I could be more than this? And I constantly thought to myself, I can be more than this. I'm meant for more than this. I'm meant for more than this. And I would have this like stress and anxiety of, not taking the risks in order to get there. So what I found was, well, how do I do that? And I decided to take the biggest risk of my life. And I've heard it many times from many people that I've told that I'm insane and that they would never do that and that it's delusional and crazy and all that stuff. I've heard it all. But I don't really care. But that's the only way I'm going to grow is by stepping into my out of my comfort zone and into uncomfortability. So I decided to moving from the spot I'm in that, income's great. I make plenty of money. I've learned quite a lot. I know I'll forever be fine if I stay here and I'll live a happy life, yada, yada, yada. And it's fine. But I also have been having this, maybe this is why I've had such bad problems with like a lot of things, is I've had this like stress and anxiety feeling of trapped within myself. And I don't know if that's God. I don't know. But so I'm moving to a whole new spot where I absolutely know zero people and I have no connections, and I'm not quite sure how it's going to work out, but it will make me and force me into areas that I don't really want to be in. Not in like bad things, but like in a way of skills that I can learn, that I need to learn in order to get to where I want to be. And so I'm taking a risk on myself and I'm going somewhere where absolutely no clue who's around me or anything like that. But, the business opportunities are there. Meeting new people will have to be forced upon me. I don't know. It'll be fun. It'll be an interesting ride. Because, like, what is the worst that's going to happen? I end up back here where everybody else I know is never leaving. So it's like, is it really that bad? No. My crash and burn is what everybody else's happy life is. So I'm taking a risk and I'm doing it in T-minus literally 1 month. So it should be quite interesting. So that's kind of why I haven't been able to post and do all this stuff. And I've been dealing with a lot of stuff. But yeah. And another thing is, so I don't know if you guys know my business Dexro. We have secured this really big meeting in Indianapolis on May 6th. So kind of nervous, but should be kind of cool. Good experience, good experience. I host also another thing that I'm doing. Like, let me just run this back. I said to everybody like 6 months ago exactly what I would do, and I'm freaking doing it. That is the best feeling of all time. Is I told everyone exactly what was going to happen, and no one believed in me and thought I was insane. But guess what? I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm telling you, I'm doing it. And I told everybody I was going to do it, and they called me lucky and I would never make it and good luck and all this stuff. But guess what? I'm freaking doing it, and you're not. So I don't know what to tell you. It's just that simple. I'm delusional enough to see past all the L's that I've taken over the years and see that it's coming to light. And I told I told everyone exactly what I was gonna do, and I'm freaking doing it, and it's paying off. So this goes back to like, if you have something insane that you want to do, I'm telling you, it is not impossible, because you are here out of all the other people that could have been here instead of you in this life, and you can still do it too. And I'm telling you, it is very possible. You've seen it in millions of other people who have become successful, that they did it, and so can you. So doing the impossible of that dream that you have is not impossible, as long as you just get past the part of being able to take all those losses and see through it and push past that level right before everybody, like right before you crack, where everybody quits. That is when you're going to make it. And yeah, and I told everybody I was going to host workshops and teach businesses and stuff like that. And guess freaking what? I have one on April 24th. I'm hosting my own event, and it should be really cool. A 23-year-old teaching people who are way older than me about business stuff. And it's like kind of a surreal moment that, I don't know, never thought would happen, but I said I was going to do it, and I made it a mission in order to do it, and I've done nothing but try and get there. It took a lot of pain to even get there. I lost a lot of, friends and relationships and stuff like that. But looking back on it, I don't think I would have been able to even get there with those people, unfortunately. So it's a blessing in disguise looking back on it, but that's life. But yeah, so a lot of really cool things happening. But yeah, so here soon, the next like 3 or 4 weeks, this background will no longer be the background, and hopefully it'll be a really cool background. But yeah, hopefully you got something out of this video. And I'm hopefully gonna get back on track for at least one a week again. I just had a ton going on. I have one more note. The world will call you delusional right up until the moment it starts calling you discipline. People only respect the obsession once it starts producing results. So people will call you delusional until the moment it starts calling you discipline. And people only respect the obsession once it starts producing results. But hopefully I'll leave you with a banger with that one.